All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday to all you cool kids hanging out. Good morning, Mr. Chide. Dr. Heckle, I presume. Guys, welcome to the room, the educational room, the I don't tell you what to do room, but I will teach you how to do it. And that's kind of what the cool thing is you are 100% in control of your trading. You are the only person that can pull the trigger. There shouldn't be someone standing next to you pulling the trigger for you. Trading is not a team sport, guys. So if I wanted to get this out there because I keep having conversations with people over and over. What do I do if my rules aren't met? Well, you can choose not to trade. What if the market's moving too fast to trade? Well, you can choose not to trade. What if the risk is too big on this entry? Guys, you can make the decision not to take that trade. You are 100% in control. Nobody can make you do anything you don't want to do. Exercise that right. First stop is always news for me when I wake up because news can affect the market. If you are in the Nexgen Pro Trader funding company and you're using a semi-live account, this is the easiest and silliest way for you to lose that account is trading during high impact news. And the reason we do that is it protects us as a company because we may be copying you and we don't want you trading in crazy volatility moments. So that's my first stop every morning. And then guys, what we're going to do today is what we do every day. We're going to talk about two different platforms. I'm going to talk about TradingView first. TradingView is a platform used by the traders in the Nexgen Pro Trader funding. TradingView has been the choice for a lot of old NinjaTrader users because of its stability. But guys, I don't care which platform you use. They're apples and oranges. Latch onto one and have fun. That's the best thing I can tell you. Learn one trade, regardless of what platform. And let that be your sole purpose in life as a day trader. You've got to learn to read your charts. That's where I come in. I, every day, give you feedback on everything that you do. If you make a mistake, we talk about it. We learn how to fix it. If you do great things, I'm pretty warm and fuzzy. I'm going to high five you, say good job, pat you on the bottom, say good game, send you on your way. Guys, but you got to keep it easy. Keep it simple. Keep it focused. I've had a lot of extracurricular conversations with people outside of the room lately. Mark, I'm losing. Mark, I can't seem to get this right. Mark, I feel compelled to be in all these moves. I'm scared to manage. And my answer is always the same, guys. Just go back to simplicity. If you feel overwhelmed, go back to simplicity. If you're struggling to find consistency, go back to simplicity. That is not trading advice, guys. That's life advice that you may choose to impart upon your trading. So we're going to use 3 rules and 2 charts. We're going to learn how to recognize a few advantages. Those advantages become your trade. And about 90% of your day is going to be waiting for things to come together. About 90% of your day is doing a whole lot of nothing. My brother used to always say, we are professional waiters. We are not day traders. But you're going to understand through your chart reading where the market is likely to continue, where the market is likely to go, where the market is likely to stop. And these 3 things will carry you to the promised land, guys. Where the market is likely to continue is where you're going to be able to identify with some pretty awesome rules exactly where a market is likely to bounce and just rejoin a prevailing trend. Where the market is likely to go is using key areas on your chart and say, wow, there's nothing in the way to create a bounce until I smack into that thing. What a great target. And then guys, where the market is likely to stop, also known as a termination condition, is just a line on a chart that could end the trend. And you may choose, if you are in your right mind, to simply not trade into those. So we're going to go through this. Your job will be to learn the rules. Learn them individually, guys. Make sure that you can do them on their own, piece them together to create a trade. When I tell you it's only 3 rules, I kid you not. That's it. That's all it takes. Simulation is key, guys. If you don't trust your plan, you're going to put stops in the wrong spot. If you don't trust your plan, you're going to hesitate when your entry rules are met. If you don't trust your plan, it's amazing how your body will have you skip every amazing trade and then just somehow magically find all of the losers. So we're looking for consistency, following these very simple rules. Post in the room. When you take a trade, post in the room. If you look at your charts and have a question, post in the room. We have conversations through pictures. And the more you post in the room, the more feedback you're going to get, the more challenges will be identified, the more solutions will be presented. It's a private session with me. All you have to do is have the courage to say, hey, Mark, this is what I did. The triggers were looking good. The market slowed down. I had all the momentum and room to trouble. So I just went ahead and made $137. And then I got out because that area could have stopped the market. Base hits pay bills. Life is good. How'd I do? And Ron, 32 flavors of awesome, brother. That's the chili dog. So take advantage of having a coach, guys. The second thing is simplicity. I've already said it. I'm going to say it 1,000 times before the day is over. Simplicity. The fewest moving parts to get to where you want to be. Guys, there is a bajillion ways to utilize the software to trade the markets, and I don't believe any of them are wrong if they're right for you. I don't teach all those ways. I teach the highest probability way that I have ever found. I teach a trade that's been proven by you guys to typically win about 75%. I can give you the rules, I can show you the pattern, I can give you everything you need. You're the one that has to decide to keep it simple. I can't do that for you. The plan that I give you, and we are in TradingView, will tell you the charts that you use, exactly how to read it, exactly what you need to enter the trade, especially with pictures showing you what it means to have your checklist met, even a couple pictures of it, stop placement. I mean, for the love of fuzzy, you have and will have everything that you need to be successful with this software. Now, most of you are too darn smart to keep it that simple. That's okay. That's your right. I don't judge. But if you're not finding the success that you think you should be finding in the markets, very often it's not the markets. Very often it is not your plan if you're following the plan that I give. It's simply you not being patient, guys. And what is, oh my gosh, I have a picture. Hold on. We're going to share. I'm not judgy here. I'm just sharing truth. The market isn't against you. It doesn't even know you exist. Your impatience is what turns opportunity into self-destruction. And I think everybody in this room can probably identify that with some point in their day trading career. Remind yourself these things. All we're doing is recognizing a pattern. So on TradingView, you will learn how to identify a trend. It'll take you 2 seconds. You're going to learn to wait for a fight within that trend. And then you're going to identify right where that fight is most likely to be lost. You're going to wait for your entry rules to be met. And the hope is that the trend resumes. And unless you guys are lying to me, typically about 75% of the time, that trend resumes, which is pretty amazing. It only takes 2 charts, guys. There's a 15-minute chart, very slow chart. There's a 1-minute chart, 15 times faster than the slow chart. The 15-minute chart will define direction, momentum, key targets, terminations. This is your big picture, guys. This is saying, hey, this is what the people in control really want to have happen. Your 1-minute chart is just going to show you the fight. That's all it is. This is your fight chart. You're going to be able to pinpoint where the fight's most likely to be lost, and you have a rule creating patience right at that area to get you in without fighting that immediate strength. Trigger lines are a big part of what we do. Your large chart has 1 set of triggers. Your small chart will have 2 sets of triggers, both small and large. I'm going to tell you, if all you're looking for is trend trades, you don't even need the large triggers on your small chart. If trend trade is your only trade, you don't need the distraction or the opinion that more indicators create. That's why your charts seem so naked compared to NinjaTrader. There are no background colors. There are no large triggers on a large chart, guys. There's no background colors on a small chart. It's just a simple pattern. So trigger lines are a big part of what we do. Areas, whether they are one-to-ones, whether they are divergence highs or lows, whether they are outer bands and mid bands, lines create bounces. That's all you need to know about them. You don't need to know the tech that creates them. You don't need to know the measurements that establish them. You don't need to know the MACD relationship to price action to create a divergence high or low. You need to know that when price reaches a line on a chart, it can create a bounce. If you learn to believe that, it's going to keep you out of a lot of trouble. So here comes the trend trade. A trend trade is only 3 rules. The first 2 rules are the same rules, which is pretty cool. All you got to do is learn one and you automatically know the other. Guys, a trend trade must trade with the trend. So we're going to use the large chart, the big slow chart, let the people in charge tell us which way they want to go. And if they are up, the small triggers will be up. That's your trend. And if the small triggers are down, it's a downtrend. It's really that easy. If the triggers are in the process of trying to make a decision, it's kind of hard to define a trend. If the triggers are flat, lifeless, going left to right, it's very difficult to define a trend. So if you want the highest advantage, the optimize your chances of success look on these triggers, let them be decidedly up. Let them be convincingly down. And it's okay, this goes back to, it is your right to not enter a trade if you can't define the trend clearly. Once you define the trend, the whole basis of everything Nexgen does is don't trade into areas. Guys, our job is to get paid. In areas, lines on a chart can mess up our ability to do that. So your 15-minute is not trading directly into areas. So we're going to backtrack and we're going to define the trend is up. And when I define the trend is up, you can see price is right here, 51.30. I believe this is a gold chart. Maybe it's S&P. Who knows? There's nothing in the way on the large chart. There's no lines that could create a bounce. There's no outer bands, no one-to-ones, no divergences, no zones. Guys, it is smooth sailing. I've got all the room in the world to make money. Does that make sense? TradingView users, give me a Y in the room. This is what sends you to the small chart to look for an entry. This is what tells you, dude, there's nowhere to go. Relax. Why are you trying to force it? The trend is up, but the market is literally at trouble, nose against the wall. There is nowhere to go. This one says go look for an entry. This one says be calm. Let that area either break or let that area roll the market. And once you have a clear path on the large chart, and if you're doing it the way intended, only if you have a clear path on the large chart, you're going to go to your small chart. And guys, rules 2 and 3 work hand in hand. You could call it rule 2/3, or you could just call it rule 2. As long as there's room for my entry, I'll take the entry. So not trading directly into areas. This is a running theme. You're going to have to be able to define entry to make sure that you have room. And I'm going to piece this all together for you. So I'm going to show you rule 3, how to define a long trade entry. And remember, all we're doing is following a pattern. First, a trend is established. In this case, for a long trade, the trend is up. Let's change colors on that so it doesn't conflict. How about orange? We never use orange. So the trend is up. We need a fight, and we're hoping for continuation. So the idea behind the trend trade entry is when everything is going up, that fight begins when the small triggers turn down. That's the beginning of the fight. We have to wait for the small triggers to point down if we're going to take a trend trade. And when they do, the rules say that I'm going to buy a pullback, which means the pullback is the fight. I'm going to buy a pullback at an area, at one-to-ones, at a mid-band, at a zone if you're using Chart Prime or Algo Alpha. And guys, when I get to that area, I don't just jump in. because the small triggers are that immediate strength that I don't want to fight. When the trend is established, when the fight begins, when price returns to an area, my entry, your entry, the trend trade entry, is a bar that closes above the small triggers, on the good side of the small triggers, on the trade side of the small triggers. We call this the weak side of the small triggers. This is where your small chart is most likely to bounce and just get back in tune with those large chart trends. That's it. It's this fight right here that gives you an amazing entry. It's this fight right here that gets you to the area. It's that fight that sets you up for success. In a downtrend, the trend is down. You can see my little pew pew laser guy. Because the small triggers roll up, I know the fight has started. I don't know where the fight's going to go. I'll never know. I can't predict the market. I don't have to make money in the market. But my rules say, because the small triggers rolled up, I need to find an area that's higher. I need to find a mid-band. I need to find one-to-ones. I'm looking for a zone. And when I get there, I don't jump in all willy-nilly. It's a down bar that finishes below those small triggers, guys. That's what sets the small chart into action, back going with the large chart. It doesn't guarantee a winner, but what it does do is it guarantees that you're not fighting the immediate momentum. If the market does not get to an area and you get a close below the small triggers, that's not a trend trade. That's you just jumping in, hoping stuff works out. First it hits an area because areas are bouncy, then it goes below. And guys, that is not an entry. There is no area. That's the one that you're going to miss if you keep losing this one. So are there any questions about the entry? Buy or sell a pullback at an area with a close on the trade side of the triggers, the weak side of the triggers, the correct side of the triggers. Everybody good with that? It's really not a very difficult concept. All your trades look exactly the same. So in a downtrend, when the fight happens and it gets to an area and you take that amazing close below the small triggers, don't trade directly into a wall. That's 2 and 3 combined. From wherever I enter the market, do I have room to make money? You either do or you do not. If you do, rock star, get it, have some fun. Sometimes the fights are small, but in an uptrend with a pullback to an area and a close above, do I have room to make money? Is everybody good with this? That is literally the trend trade, guys. I wish there were more to it. I've tried my best to make it more difficult, but it's the same 2 stinking rules and a little bit of patience on an entry. Any questions? Here's what it looks like before it happens. Because the small triggers are up, the trend is up. There's nothing in the way. And because rule number 1 is met, I'm allowed to go to rule number 2. I allow myself to go to the small chart. With the market way up here, because I took the time to memorize my entry rules, I know that I need the small triggers to roll down. I know that I need it to pull back to an area, and then I know that I need a close above, which means before the market ever even starts the fight, I know exactly where my first opportunity for an entry lies. You will call your shots. The triggers are up. The path is clear. Because the small triggers rolled, I know exactly where my first opportunity comes from. And guys, it's not uncommon to wait 10 minutes, 6 minutes, 5 minutes, 8 minutes. Hell, we had one that was like 19 minutes until it finally got to the area. Takes a minute sometimes. We did this one in the room where we knew exactly, because the triggers were down and we had room, we drew a box. And 9 minutes later, we got an entry. And 11 minutes later, we were out 30 points a contract. Right at large chart trouble. Guys, learn the methodology. You will call your shots. When you say, what are the rules to take a trade from an area? Boaz, Pull back to an area, close below. What trade? I guess that would be my question. What trade? Because there's 3 different trades on the plan. There's a trend trade that we just talked about. There's a momentum trade. There's your rules right there. There's also an HVA trade that's from tops and bottoms. So, Boaz, it really depends on which trade you're talking about. But there's a checklist for all of them for you guys. Nobody's asking questions about the trend trade. Is that the one you're wondering, Boaz? Pull back to the area for the trend trade? Or are you asking for a different trade? I don't want to go forward until I make sure that you get your question answered. Buys, yes. You're asking about the trend trade? So that's it. Pull back to an area. Close on the correct side of the triggers. That's the whole thing. Good morning, Sergio. So what's happening during this pattern? I'm a very kind of visual, artsy-fartsy, I like words and little stories guy. When my market is in an uptrend, guys, when I can define it through the small triggers that the trend is up, I know that the buyers are in control. I know that the people who want it to go up are making it go up. We just call them the buyers. And you see it on the small chart too. The fight is the sellers. It's that opposing force. It's the people that don't want it to go up anymore. And they create a push. And this is a small chart. The big picture says up. Guys, when the sellers fight, we're waiting for that close above the triggers to get us back in tune with the big picture control. And here's one of the cool things, is you will see the exact tick where the sellers fail. You will see exactly where they could push down no more. We're going to use that idea for stop placement. So when the buyer or the sellers are in control and the buyers fight, they get to the area, as the rules state, we get a close below, and guys, your stop will go above their failure point, above that pivot. That's where the market should not go. That is where, if for some reason the buyers push harder and try to go again, that's where you see that they may go way up here. So we're going to use this concept to help get you a stop where the market should not go. Now, some people have a predetermined stop number. I've worked with people that say, well, my stop is 12 ticks. And they get hit. And then the market does everything that your indicator said it could do. Guys, stop placement is not a number. Stop placement is not where you wish the market wouldn't go. Stop placement is very literally a point where the market should not go. And there is nothing more frustrating than being stopped out of the perfect trade because you were only willing to risk 12 ticks. So when the sellers fight and fail, we're going to use that for stop placement. And I was talking to a friend this morning, and they were saying, risk, I don't like risk. That's a lot of risk. I don't care for the risk. And I said what I always say, and you guys will find that I'm pretty consistent with what I do. And I'm going to copy this straight out of our conversation and drop it in the room. Risk is trading the wrong way. And risk is trading into areas. And risk is trading from the wrong side of those small triggers. And risk is not following the plan, guys. Your plan is designed to have you reducing your risk before you ever pull the trigger. Does that make sense, everybody? The risk as you guys see it is just a number. Risk is so much more than that. Risk is not having an advantage, not trading an edge, not sticking to a plan, not embracing the pattern, putting your stops in the wrong spot. All of that is taken care of before you ever risk money. And it makes it easier to accept. That's it. Manage risk before you manage profit. You know exactly what you're getting into, guys, before you ever pull the trigger. And with enough study, you begin to believe it. And with enough study, you start saying almost arrogant stuff like, they're going to have to come get my stop. I know this is a $400 stop, but every condition on my charts is perfect for them to continue up. They're going to have to come get me. I stole it from somebody, Ron. That's one of the signs that you recognize you're becoming a mature trader, I believe is what that was. You know that you're maturing as a trader. I wonder if I have that somewhere. Well, I'm not sure if I still have it. You know you're maturing as a trader when you begin to manage risk before you manage profits. I steal from the markets every day with the edge, Ron. Is everybody good with stop placement? You may not like it, but there literally is a spot where the market should not go if your trade's going to be a winner. Let's talk about support and resistance real quick, and then we're really going to wrap it up on TradingView. Guys, when the market is moving up, any area reached is an area of resistance. I don't care what the name of the line is, it's resistance. Short trades originate from resistance. Short trend trades must come from resistance. They cannot come from support. When the market is moving down, areas reached are areas of support. Long trades come from areas of support. They cannot come from areas of resistance. Would you guys give me a little bit of love and put a Y in the room if that makes sense? Only short trades from resistance, only long trades from support. So it's imperative that you know the difference between support and resistance. And they can change their role, guys. So when the market's coming up and reaches an area, that area is resistance. If a full body of a bar closes above resistance, and man, when I say the full body closes, it means that this bar is done and in the rearview mirror and a new bar has started. If all four corners of a bar get above that area of resistance, that area becomes support. And there's a beautiful example. Comes back, support holds, off it goes. If a full bar closes below what is behaving as support, it becomes resistance. I can take a short trade from resistance. I can take a long trade from support. I cannot take a short trade from above resistance. I cannot take a long trade from an area of resistance. I may have said that wrong. So when do they change? They change when the full body closes. Most common mistakes, and guys, you know who you are because I was one of you forever. Long trades don't come from resistance. So if you have an area behaving as resistance, a close above it doesn't qualify for a long trade. We call this a prairie dog. And prairie dog is a steel toe boot wearing mofo that will kick your teeth in. And you're going to take a lot of losers saying, yeah, but they got above it. And it's just not going to work. Not more than it doesn't. And sometimes you'll be like, oh my gosh, they're going without me. And then they finish way above and support holds. And these two are two of the biggest account drainers for you guys. I know because you show me your trades. The prairie dog is a killer. It takes all of us a while. Victor, I didn't even know this was a thing when I helped John Novak write the plan. I had to lose these trades 100 times before I realized all of this that I just taught. So if you're brand new, guess what? You don't have to lose 100 times. I've already done it for you. And now you have the lesson that I got through my repetition. So as you're learning Trading View. This is what I suggest. This is not trading advice. This is educational advice. Take the time, every trade you take, to not only write down what you see. Small triggers are down. My rules say only shorts. Change the color. Don in here does that. What does it mean to you to be in a downtrend? Commit it to memory. Room to targets means that I have room to make money. And then right here, copy paste this. I don't care. Here, I'll do it. I'll give it to you right now. Because my small triggers rolled up, I need a pullback to an area, then a close below. And guys, if you get in the habit of writing that on every chart, what happens is you begin to know exactly where your trades come from before the trade ever gets there, before the market ever gets there. You know exactly what has to happen before you ever take the entry. Now I'm going to tell you something. When you get to an area and get a close below, it doesn't say that the small triggers have to roll down. Some of you are making up that rule. By the time the small triggers roll down, that market may be gone. You close below at an area. That's your entry. Stop goes where the market shouldn't. And guys, every time you present in my room, I appreciate it if you tell me this as well, because it lets me know how you're reading your indicators, and it lets me know where you need help, and it lets me know exactly what I can do to help you. Are there any questions about the high probability trend trade on TradingView? That's it. 2 charts, 3 rules, guys. And now we're going to go to NinjaTrader. And guess what? You're going to have to learn to read your charts on NinjaTrader as well. And we're just going to look for this exact same pattern on a different platform. Trend, fight, resume trend. That's the methodology. Guys, this is the exact same methodology that Nexgen has been teaching in live classrooms since 2004. Or 2000, really. This is from the 2004 plan. Trend, fight, resumption. Guys, it's the exact same thing that we're talking about right now. Keep it simple. Post in the room. You got here late, but you don't want to stop the class. Is there a question, Sergio? Did I miss a question? It's about the entry. You didn't reach an area. High volume area lines are not used for entries. You need Fibonacci, you need 1-to-1s, you need a mid-band. There is no short trade here. Are you going long? Oh, back here. You're not trading from an area. You never got the pullback here. Is this this is hard to read, dude. Is this your entry up here where the market pulled back, hit the area, closed below? Because I see the entry all the way down here. That's your entry. Okay, yeah, give me some annotations, and then we'll go through it when we do the feedback. Guys, it only takes 3 rules to identify the highest probability trend trade Nexgen has ever taught. It only takes 2 charts. There's the large chart, slow chart, broad stroke of a brush. You're going to use the first bar on this large chart to define direction, momentums, and areas. You're going to use the small chart to define the perfect entry, the fight, the bounce, the continuation. It only takes 2 charts. It only takes 3 rules. You're going to have areas on both charts. Areas can create a bounce. You're going to have triggers on both charts. You're going to have large and small. Smalls have 2 solid lines. Large are dashed. These are fast. These are slow. When they're green, they're up. When they're red, they're down. Trigger lines will define momentum for rule number 1, and trigger lines will define termination conditions for rule number 2, and large trigger lines will define entry. We are learning to read trigger lines, and we're doing it with only 3 rules. And rule number 1 says that I must have strong trigger lines. Guys, one of the things about the very basic plan that's been dropped in the room is there's not a lot of room for interpretation. There's not a lot of room for opinion. When you look at the checklist is small. It's short. And guys, there's even pictures on there to show you exactly what it looks like when your rules are met. Rule number one is strong triggers. So on your large chart, Victor, go to the YouTube page, look for John Novak's masterclass, or I can do that for you later. You know that they have absolutely no bearing on trend trades, none whatsoever. I don't know what your plan is. No. What do your rules say for entry? Pull back to an area with a close below the triggers or above the triggers? I want to make sure that we have the same rules. So hold on. 15-minute, not trading directly into areas. Make sure that you read the white bar correctly. 1-minute areas, not trading directly into areas. Make sure you read the white bar correctly. Buy or sell a pullback with a 1-minute area zone, 1-to-1 or mid-band with a close on the weak side of the triggers. But damn it all, Victor, make sure you read the white bar correctly. Stop being so damn smart. You don't need it if you're taking trend trades. You don't need it if you're taking trend trades. My friend Adriana said that she doesn't like looking at the HVA lines because they start getting a little confusing for her. So she took them off her chart and said, wow, I don't need this for the best trend trade ever. Pretty cool, right, Victor? You don't need large triggers on a large chart. Hell, you don't even need large triggers on a small chart if all you're taking is trend trades. Maybe some of you guys and gals that are prone to opinions might want to pull those off the charts if all you want is trend trades. Something to think about. Guys, on NinjaTrader, strong triggers is one look. In an uptrend, when the background is green, both small and large triggers are green, or in a downtrend, when the background is red, small and large are red. When the small triggers break above and away from the large triggers in an uptrend, the large triggers are widening. The odds are favorable for the market to continue up. In a downtrend, when the small triggers break below the large triggers, when the large triggers are down and widening, the space between the two lets you know that the odds are favorable for the market to continue down. Victor, it's crazy, right? It's absolutely nuts how little you need on that chart to be successful with this trade. Absolutely nuts. I'm telling you guys, I've stripped my charts naked of anything that's not important. When I have strong triggers, the odds are favorable for the market to continue down. And when that separation goes away, when there's no longer space between the small and large, we call this weak triggers, which is very conveniently the opposite of strong. And when we used to have odds favorable, we now have anything can happen, guys. So if you're brand new, let it be very black and white. I either have that advantage of momentum because of strong triggers, or I simply do not. And guys, your rules are a flow chart. If rule one is met, then I go to rule number two. And if I don't have rule number one met, I'm done looking. I don't need it. It's not mine. I don't care what the market does. Victor, everybody gets tired of blowing accounts. So I want you to know that you are human and that it is normal and that our desire to make money supersedes our willingness to follow a plan that's been proven to create that result. So, man, simplicity. Everybody always tells me this is so much easier when there's less going on. Guys, everything I'm talking about right now, here's a little heads up, and you're going to see it towards the end of class. Everything that I'm talking about for this high probability trend trade, John Novak is automated, which is pretty rad. And we're going to watch that automated system towards the end of the room today and let you guys see what we're doing with it. But it starts with strong triggers. And when strong triggers is true, we make sure that there's no lines in the way to create a bounce. Guys, areas on a large chart can stop a market. And this is the same concept. If the market is coming up, any line hit is resistance. And if the market is coming down, any line hit is support. And these are the points on your large chart where the people who control the market are making decisions. where buyers are buying, where sellers are selling, where fights are happening, where reversals are most likely to come from. And there's a simple process to make sure that you don't get caught in that fight. If price reaches an area, I want you to ask yourself, where are my triggers? And if all of your triggers remain below an area of resistance, all four, both small, both large, that area of resistance is defined as a termination condition. It may stop the market, it could reverse the market, it could break. But in the moment, I don't know what's going to happen. Rule number 2 says do not initiate a trade into an area that has been deemed a termination condition. Price comes down, hits Fibonacci support. I ask myself, where are all my triggers? If all four trigger lines remain above that area of support is a termination condition. Rule number 2 in the plan provided, should you decide to follow it, says absolutely no trades are initiated into an area of support that has been deemed a termination condition. You have to wait for either the area to break or for the market to reverse from that area. And I'm telling you right now, when these termination conditions reverse the market, we call that a strong top or a strong bottom, and man, that sets you up for the absolute best of the best. So when price reaches an area, we're just going to count triggers. We're done with price. It has nothing to do with price. It has nothing to do with the color of the area. It has everything to do with where these four trigger lines are. And if none have made it through, the rules say absolutely no trade. And if you have momentum and 2 triggers get through, the plan provided says, nope, not yet, it's not good enough. Guys, that area has the potential to break, but it's a pretty weak potential. It's when 3 of the 4 trigger lines get through the area in question, that's when the potential for a breakout goes up. That's when the plan designed to optimize your chances of success gives you a solid checklist to capitalize on what we call a medium probability trade. And a medium probability trade says most of your indicators line up for a trade. However, a small issue exists. Your issue is that it's not quite broken. You'll manage these a little more assertively, maybe take profits a little faster, perhaps get to break even a little sooner. This look will be the majority of your trend trades. But when all 4 triggers get north of trouble, guys, trouble is broken. It's in the rear view mirror. Resistance becomes support, and with all that momentum, you're going to be excited to go look for an entry. This is your best of the best. This is still pretty darn good, and the second trade on the plan is provided to help you capitalize on that. So we can get a clear path from a breakout, all 4 triggers above. We can get a clear path from a reversal. The easiest trades that you ever take with the software, the highest probability trend trade I've ever taught in this room, says that with momentum and a clear path, pinpoint where the fight is most likely to be lost on a small chart and use it for entry. On your large chart, it looks like these tails. And these tails are pretty cool. These tails are just the fight on the small chart. Sorry, my ninja crashed somewhere where I wasn't looking. They're just the fight on the small chart. And we're going to use, you guessed it, a little bit of language to pinpoint the perfect entry, to have that entry area where the market is most likely to continue. And the language will set you free. The language will make sure that you are in at the right spot. The language will get you in with probably the least amount of risk and typically the highest profitability. So we're going to use a limit order. And that limit order means that you're going to wait at a spot for that area to come. When you look at the automated system later today, you're going to see that we're using limit orders, trading that amazing methodology. You're going to buy or sell a pullback, which means you're going to wait for that fight. That fight begins with a reversal bar on the Renko charts. You're going to buy or sell that pullback at an area because areas are bouncy, at a fib, at a midband, at a yellow 1-to-1, something that can make that market ricochet and go back in the direction of large chart advantages. But those areas, they need to be inside of triggers because your large triggers are going to show you where they need to be. They're going to literally draw a map for you to make sure that you're always in at the right spot. So when the large chart is up, let's do a little picture here today. When the large chart is up, When the large chart has strong triggers, when the large chart has a clear path, then and only then do we head over to the small chart as a new user. And man, you're going to be like, I want to get in. Why am I not in? I need to be in. It's going without me. And then that magical moment, there's the reversal bar. There's the beginning of the fight. There's the start of that little push down when everything on the big chart says up. And as that push down goes, you're going to be able to say with the utmost confidence, that pullback is most likely to go somewhere from the top of those large trigger lines to the bottom of those trigger lines. And as good as I am, I'm not exactly sure which it would be. So that's my retracement zone. But trigger lines aren't bouncy. Areas are bouncy. And that market may continue up from an area, fibs, midbands, or yellow 1-to-1s inside of those trigger lines. Sometimes there's multiples. It creates what we call a window. I call it the window of opportunity. Ric Flair refers to it as the whoo. But guys, these are the areas most likely to create the bounce, to send the market bouncing in the direction of your large chart advantages. But because we're here to not miss trades, not to miss opportunity, your limit order will go just above the highest point of support, just above that area closest to the reversal bar, because I don't want to miss out on this trade. And my large chart is gangbusters to the upside. But we remember, it could retrace. And if it gets past that area inside of triggers, we don't panic. Rule number 3 is still in play. And if it makes it to the next area, awesome. It might create a bounce. And if it goes to the bottom of the retracement zone, we're cool. Rule number 3 is still in full effect. But if it makes it about 5 ticks below those triggers, the advantage of rule number 3 is no longer in play. Now I'm going to rewind just a little bit. This is the initial risk on the trade. From the entry, you have already managed your risk by insisting that the large chart has strong triggers and gives you the advantage of momentum where a market is difficult to stop. And you have already reduced your risk by making sure that you're not trading into areas that could create a bounce against your trade. And now you have increased your odds of success by taking the perfect entry, so much so that you know exactly where that market should not go. And that's the language we're going to use. The market should not go about 5 ticks below those trigger lines. And if it does, we will willingly accept a loss, because anything that wins 70 to 80% of the time is obligated through mathematics to lose 20 to 30% of the time. And this is why it is so imperative that we focus on the execution of the method, that we focus on doing the same thing every time, that we are hell-bent on not breaking our rules, because every time we do, it changes the results, right? So the reversal bar begins the pullback. It's not the entry. The retracement, most likely to go somewhere from the bottom to the top of the triggers. I don't know where. That's just a retracement zone. The area within, closest to the reversal bar, that's where I'm taking my entry. That's where you'll be taking your entry, because this is your highest chance of success, to take a trade that's been proven to win more than it loses. And because you can define where the market is most likely to continue, all of your hard work and study has defined where the market should not go. And any line beyond that retracement zone isn't a part of entry, guys, because once you start getting through those advantages, you just don't know if, when, or where that market is most likely to stop and continue with the trend. And it's just a 2-chart pattern. The large chart, through the background color, will tell you which way you should be looking for a trade. The trigger lines will let you know that the odds are favorable for the market to continue in the direction of that trend. By not reaching areas and getting through the previous areas, that clear path lets you know that there's nothing in the way to create a bounce against your trade. And when the large chart rules are met, you're waiting for a reversal bar. And the market's way up here at 97.05, and there's about 80 bucks to trouble. And some of you are going to talk yourselves out of this amazing trade. Those of you that do the study are going to recognize that when you wait for the pullback to an area inside of triggers, there's that complete phrase again. that you're actually entering much lower. And that $80 turns into about $320. And because you wait for the pullback to an area inside of triggers, your risk is dramatically reduced. On a large chart, it's going to look like a tail. Let's see if we can find an example. That's a small chart. That's a large chart. If I scroll back, these guys have been just yahoos today, haven't they? And I have odds favorable momentum. And I haven't hit trouble. Let's go see what that looks like on a smaller, faster chart. Just for poops and giggles. I'll be darned. It pulled right back to an area right inside of that retracement zone, at which point it bounced at 67.28 and didn't stop till 67.39. And that is 9 points times $50 a point. That is $450 per contract, trading the highest probability pattern I have ever taught in this room. And guys, if you don't find that amazing that I was able to scroll back, 8 minutes and already find an example, you're missing the point. Trading doesn't have to be difficult. Trading doesn't have to be hope. Trading doesn't have to be every tick belonging to you. You can find one pattern, prove that it wins more than it loses, and never hesitate when it's time to take that trade. Guys, this methodology takes a little bit of study, takes a little bit of practice. But tell you right now, this methodology has been automated, large chart and small chart, by my genius big brother. We're going to look at it a little bit today. Are there any questions about the high probability trend trade? Guys, when you present in the room, I ask you, hey, Miss Trina, nice to see you. When you annotate your charts and you're looking for feedback, talk to me about the momentum that you saw. Talk to yourself about the momentum you saw. Talk about your path. Was it the potential to break? Was it a clear path? Are you trading directly into termination conditions? Be honest with yourself. Where did you take your entry and why? If you give me that information every time you post in the room, guys, we will get along just fine. Let's enable our strategy, and let me take it onto the sim account. Whoops. Gotta enable it. So it's pretty cool. Your system, oh, look at that. Momentum and path, it gave a signal. Too bad we weren't set up, right? We will enable it, we will apply, we will turn it on. And if the rules are met, it'll give a signal. And if the rules are met on the small chart, it'll capitalize on that signal. And if it's not, it simply won't enter. Did it give us the signal down here? It doesn't look like it did. That's okay. I'm patient. Market trades billions of dollars hourly. But we're going to watch this one later, guys. Oh, maybe it didn't because my transmit chart wasn't on. Right on. It's loaded, but we're going to watch it later. So I'm going to take like 3 minutes. When I come back, we're going to click on all the charts that are posted. We're going to talk about the advantages. We're going to talk about the disadvantages. I'm going to answer every question that you guys have. And then we're going to finish Friday watching this chart, guys. And when we do it, we're going to let the system enter. But we're going to use the idea in the very simple plan that I give you to put stops behind pivots to learn how to get paid at areas that could create problems. And guys, we're going to watch this thing go, and I think you're probably going to be pretty amazed and bewildered. So look at that. Love it. I will be back in 5. Boy, that's nice. Couple signals. Here's the S&P over here. All the momentum. 3 triggers through. You would be so good, and all you would do is say, hey, come on, fight. Right back to that area inside of triggers. And you would say, this is where my stop belongs. Whoops. Where the market shouldn't go. And if I get a reversal bar, I'll reduce risk. And if I hit my first profits, I'll go break even. And I put it in the wrong spot and it got me. But guys, that's your KISS plan. And look at the entry, like a sniper. And I made $100, 112 or whatever, maybe. And even when it pushed up higher, I still capitalized. Pretty cool, right? So I'll leave you guys with this. You watch it. I'll be back in a few minutes. We'll start clicking on pictures. Be very vocal if there's anything I can help you with. See you in just a couple. Up so that I can be down in the bottom of the chat box to answer any questions that you have. Um, I want to remind you, please, oh, please, oh, please, don't put yourself in the position of the trade police. Everybody in this room is at a different level. Everybody in this room has different risk tolerances. Everybody in this room might see things just a little different than you. So instead of saying, oh, Ron didn't follow the rules, Ron didn't have a pullback, look at what Ron did. Ron waited for the perfect momentum, that advantage presented by rule number one. He made sure that price had not reached anything that could create a bounce. And Ron created this trade. I don't even know, it's been years now. And he calls it the chili dog. And all it is Ron saying, you know, My study in the high probability trend trade convinced me beyond a shadow of a doubt that when I have momentum and path, when a market is screaming, when there's nothing in the way, I'm going to find a way to pull $100 out of the market. I'm going to do it 5 or 6 times a day. I'm going to let my triggers take me, or my trading take me to 6 figures a year. And I'm going to do it in 8-second increments, right? Use the round tip scissors. Me too. And the big fat pencils. Guys, this is the chili dog, and all it is momentum and path and finding a way. Beautiful trade, Ron. It's so beautiful. Pete says, I don't know if you know this, Ron, but I can do what you do. Here's all the momentum with nothing in the way. Ha ha, ha ha, ha ha. It's the exact same trade the other direction, guys. Chili dogs coming and going. And look at that. Out at the bouncy things. You will know where the market is likely to go based on that momentum. You will find a way to capitalize with a little bit of study. Great job, Pete. Triggers are up, and we're looking right here, I believe, potential to break, and it does pull back right to the areas inside of triggers. And Pete says, you know what? I'm just not sold on this one. I'm not sure why. And he says, I'll wait to get back above stuff. I'll get to the good side of everything, and then I'll take that trade. And while the entry is good, the rules-based entry was better. Less risk, more profit. But guys, when you do it this well, when you wait for the advantages, and one of the things that you're going to see is almost everybody in this room that looks like they're breaking rules didn't like the small triggers position. Right on. You're like, oh, he's breaking rules. Guys, he's riding momentum. And he found a way to do it because he put a lot of time and effort into learning the simple trades so that he could begin to recognize patterns outside of the simple trades. Everything is down, strong trending market, nothing in the way. And Pete says, let me get in below bouncy things. And actually use the bouncy thing as a backstop. And once again, finding a way. One of the things about trading is there's so many ways to do it. One of the things that I encourage is until you learn how to do it your way, it's okay to use an established, proven checklist, something that optimizes your chances of success. And when you break outside of the very simple process, make sure that you're writing your own checklist for entry to make sure that you're being consistent with the process. All right, trend trade short, triggers down, room to trouble, pull back to the mid band, small closes below the small triggers, stop loss would be set above the pivot high, profit target would be set above the next zone, larger target would maybe be the zone below, maybe not the one-to-ones. Does the mid band act as support and resistance when price has 4 corners closing above it? This is a great question. Papa, are you in here? I'm going to give you my 2 cents. Everybody in the room, take it for what it is. This is not a rule, but rather an observation. This zone is a rock solid area. Those pink one-to-ones are a rock solid area. These yellow one-to-ones are a rock solid area. Papa, this mid band and even those outer bands, these are moving averages. These things wiggle and giggle as price moves. Does that make sense? So when everything is perfect, when this is perfect, when that is perfect, when the entry is perfect, when everything is freaking just amazing, that mid band, that's a moving average. If I'm a couple ticks above, a couple ticks below, what I do like to see is I love my entry on the good side of that moving average, but there's not a hard and fast rule. I would take that trade all day long, Papa. Wouldn't hesitate. Wouldn't overthink it one bit. If this were a zone, I would reconsider. Is that good? Does that help? If that weren't just a moving average, if that were literally a zone, I would reconsider everything and say, man, I'll wait for the pullback to it. Great picture. Great question. Perfect. Perfect. I don't know anything about white bars, brother. I don't have any rules that say anything about that white bar affecting your trend trade. Let's not overcomplicate it, right? Now, if you want a white bar lesson, guys, if you want to go through and start to incorporate those white bars, let me give you 45 minutes of genius. Me personally, I don't use it. You could though. So let me give you the link. Here's your weekend homework for you guys that need more moving parts. There's John Novak's volume analysis masterclass. Teach you some great things about those white bars. Your very basic trend trade doesn't need it. Sergio, did you give me a re-up on this one? Here, let me give you my read. Triggers are down, room to trouble, pull back to the area, close below. That's what I see as the trend trade. Oh, okay, right on. Yeah, no, I saw it, Papa. And it's just it's that moving average thing. I got you now. That took me a second. Thank you for the clarity on that. Sometimes I need it. There's your trend trade, Sergio, and it is rock star to something solid, right? And then your next one, do you notice how your small triggers never roll up? Let me know that you see that, Sergio. Because, guys, when I talk about language, because my small triggers roll up, the fight is on. I need a pullback to resistance and a close below small triggers. Fair enough, right? Like, that's pretty specific. Wouldn't you guys agree? So if there is no fight, maybe there's not a trend trade there. Let's see the new one. No close below triggers. Get stopped out. Jump back in without a close below triggers. Looks like maybe stopped out again. And you keep doing all sorts of stuff that doesn't fit over here. Okay. And then it pulls back. So the HVAs, not an area. Did you go up or down here? I see a long trade. So you've already abandoned the trend trade is what you're telling me? You made it 4 days and you're already going counter trend? That's cool. None of your rules are met. Well, you did. If you went long against these triggers, Sergio, you went counter trend. Does that make sense? Everything here says down. Didn't hit anything. There's no... I've never taught a trade that even resembles this. Never given a checklist that resembles this. You don't have any termination conditions. You're not trading from anything. You're just hoping it goes up. Close above the triggers doesn't mean anything. Large chart leads the way. So Sergio, let's recalibrate. Can we agree this is a downtrend? Smalls are down. My rules say look to go down with the trend if I'm taking a trend trade. It doesn't matter. There's no line there, Sergio. Any trade, if your trend is down, let's do this. If your trend is down, any trade up is not a trend trade. Does that make sense? Any trade up is not a trend trade. Can't be a trend trade. Could never be a trend trade. Even if you get a close above small triggers. Even if you had an area. You can't take a trend trade counter to the trend. That is where the phrase counter trend trade comes in. Are you with me? Cool. Sometimes we have to learn these lessons. And there are ways, Sergio. There are ways to capitalize when it gets down here to maybe go counter trend, and there's a one and done, there's a shot even on the plan that I hand out. You were going backwards against the trend. Yes, sir. Does that make sense? Cool. Good stuff. Good stuff. Everything is screaming up, nothing in the way. I'm going to jump in. I'm going to get out. Look at the timestamp. 3 seconds. That's a 3-second trade, ladies and gentlemen. Outstanding, Ron. Same thing the other way. It's like Ron and Bizarro Ron, or Pete and Bizarro Pete. Everything is down, nothing in the way. Find a way to jump in, get out if it changes. Such a good job, both of you guys. It's amazing how momentum and path. Oh, Marika. Triggers broke through. You have momentum. The start of it pulls right back to the area with room to trouble. Great job, Marika. Mid-band's a termination. The immediate strength is up. Pulls back to a bouncy thing inside of triggers. And nice job. Great continuation trade, Marika. And good job getting paid at trouble. Take care, Ron. Go find some areas on the beach. HVA trade. Regular triggers up and strong. Small triggers above. Cyan in at the HVA to mid-band. Closed but open. Not coming from an area, so skipping it for the next one. This would right here, 10K. That's your momentum trade from the HVA. Your arrows are a little bit off. There's your HVA line. There's your pullback to it with momentum. That is the perfect momentum look, with the exception that you're going counter trend. Good stuff. I hope that makes sense. Morning, sir. Let me figure out what we're doing here. I see 3 charts. I'm not sure why. One's got market flow, maybe one doesn't. Termination on the large chart. Are you going long here? So trend is up. Absolutely nothing in the way. No momentum. Hoping the HVA holds, right? I don't have rules for this one. I mean, I hope it worked out. I'm rooting for you. I don't have any rules for that one. Same setup as previous. Now that's a momentum trade. But it's trading directly into the bottom of a zone. So no clear path. Pull back to the HVAs. I think you guys are getting excited about these HVAs without any rules met. And it worked. It went from the wrong side of everything. From the wrong side of everything. White bar up. Everything says down here. Maybe some more steam. Should, would, could, hesitated. Why not just take the trend trade short and go with the trend? I don't know what you're looking for. You're so hell-bent on fighting the trend that you miss the perfect trend trade. You should have been making money to the downside, 10K. Does that make sense? You are so excited about fighting the trend and being that salmon. You know that salmon die when they get to the end, right? Look at that large chart. Wow. There's your trend trade. I wonder where it went. I don't know. So 1-to-1 in red zone down here makes you hesitate. You had 15 points to get there. But hold on. But fighting the trend directly into the bottom of a zone doesn't make you blink at all, right? So 10K, I'm not the judgy sort, but when I see that you're very willing to trade into large chart areas against the trend, but that scares you, it leads me to believe that perhaps you're not looking at a checklist, that maybe you don't have rules, that you're taking whatever's happening in the moment and hoping you can capitalize on it. And some people find a tremendous amount of success like that. But logically, does it make sense to be scared of a 1 minute chart trading with the trend with room to get there, but to not even blink directly into all the trouble in the world? So I'm struggling a little bit to follow your plan, and that's okay. Everything is down. Right for entry, but termination zone, I agree 100%. Doesn't fit rule number 2. And look at the support holding. Pretty cool, right? So 10K, remember, room to trouble. And let me show you this one blown up a little bit. You'll have to decide what room is. Come on. But from 872 probably down to 61, that's 180 per contract before you reach anything that creates a bounce. For most people, especially someone of your caliber, that's more than enough time. Right here, there's no room. You're directly into support. And look at the bounce. But right here, from the area below the triggers, it works. That's rule number 2. That's the difference that rule number 2 provides right there. Does that make sense? Everybody in the room trading TradingView, does that make sense? Trading directly into support tends to suck. That's the prairie dog. Trading to support creates a lot of opportunity. Great stuff, man. Everything says down, you're directly inside of trouble. And that's a pretty good HVA because you have the 15-minute termination. That's rule number 1. Add a 15-minute termination, 100%. Smalls above the large, 100%. Pull back to an HVA, 100%. Room to trouble. 10K, that's how you take an HVA trade. Nicely done. That's the perfect HVA trade. Solid. Good looking trade. Gotta have rules. It's crazy how much rules help out. Not a pivot stop out, just a third divergence going higher. All the momentum. You're in at 29.25, which is, I don't know, probably about right here, directly into everything. Problematic. And it's just a momentum trade. And it works beautifully. Nice job, Cav. All right. Triggers are up. Weak side of the triggers. Market pulls back, closes above. It's tight, but target's made. Great job. 8.5 points time 3 contract, Trina. So 10K, there's another good example right there. And her triggers were up when it happened. Having room to something bouncy just tends to pay dividends. Great job, Miss Trina. What's going on, Terry Cano? Let's see what you did. Triggers are up. Strong side. Market pulls back. There's your fight. There's your close above. And they're like, oh, not yet. We want to go back to the mid band. And look at that. You put your stop where the market shouldn't go, below the pivot low. Comes back to the mid band. Comes back to the mid band. And it never goes. Oh my gosh. Terry Cano. I hope I'm saying that okay. Initial stops are placed where the fight is lost. Is everybody good with that? The trend is up over here. There's the fight. There's the resumption. Stop goes behind where the fight was lost. And here's the cool thing. They fight again. And there's the resumption. And then, Terry, if you wanted to, you could move your stop a little bit behind where they failed. And then there's another fight and another resumption. And you could move your stop behind that one. Guys, this is a shining example of where the market should not go. When the large chart says, yeah, we're looking for 25,100, everything says we're going that way. He takes the entry, the stop makes sense, and the money is made. Absolutely beautiful. Great job. Cav. All the momentum and path. Look at that entry. Ah, that's beautiful, Cav. That's what it's going to look like on your automated system, too. Marika, same thing, just a little bit early, right? Same trade. Marika, I want you to see the difference between, hold on, the difference between a pullback to an area inside of triggers. This is for everybody, not just you, Marika. And a pullback to in between the triggers. So let's see if we can get both of these going real quick. $39.25, 38. That's $62 more risk, $62 less profit. That's all. It's still beautiful, Marika. You caught it on the way up. No worries. Stop still goes where the market shouldn't. It's subtle, but just great job. Great job. You got your groove today. Nicely done. That's all right. When it's perfect, a little early, you still made all the money you needed to make. Fantastic. All right, Pete. Weak triggers, not momentum and path. Weak triggers, but you do have path. Momentum trade without momentum. It all works out, right, Pete? Not a momentum trade. There's no momentum. Not a momentum on the large chart. The triggers are weak. No separation between the small and large. 20 seconds or not, you broke all your rules and you got lucky. Good job. That's getting caught up in the moment. Ah! Boaz, are you looking for, you're going long or short? Your short was, I don't even know where we're at here. Triggers are up. Pull back to the area. There's the entry. Okay, there it is. Triggers are up. Room to trouble. Pull back to the 1-to-1s. Close above. Get in. Make money. Nicely done. Took me a second. And then you just jumped in and made a little money down to the area too with the triggers. The short to get to the long. Perfect trend trade. Using your understanding of the trend trade to make a couple bucks on the way down. Good job. Good job, everybody. S&P says momentum up. Only 2 triggers through, multiple divergences. It's going to be hard to break that area without momentum. Let's wait and let it get better. What's the system doing? Let's turn it on. Look at that. The market is stuck sideways. Did it give one over here? I saw a signal on the large chart. Never gave a signal on the small chart because it wasn't perfect. Your system knows that it's a termination condition. Won't give a signal. Pretty cool, right? Those things that we forget as brand new users protects us from ourselves. I love this thing. I'm so in love with this system, John Novak. I have had so much fun testing it and going through it and having fun with it. The plot indicators, you can double click in the bottom left-hand corner. Boom. There's your grids. Is that what you mean? I'm not sure what you mean by plot indicators, Adam. Is that what you were talking about? Oh, entries and exits? Haven't figured out how to do it. I saw John talking to someone about it yesterday. There is something that doesn't allow it to happen with the system. If you really need to see them, one of the things you can do, and this is the trick that I learned. One of the things that you can do if you really want to see those entries is just open up a NASDAQ workspace, keep it on simulator or whatever account you're trading. And when the system enters, it'll show it on that other time frame, because as long as you're in the same one. Yeah, you have to remove the strategy to see them. Yeah, but if you want to, like, in the moment, right, or after a trade, that little trick works. And we'll see if we can get an example of it. If we can get a trade on the system. There we go. Looks like it took a loser. But you can see it right there. And I'll tell you what, that was probably a pretty good looking trade on the other one. That was very, very timely. All right. Look at us go, guys. Let's see what the market's doing. The market is up. I've got room to trouble. Give me a Y. Is everybody good with that? That's your read. The trend is up. There's room to trouble. I don't have momentum for a momentum trade, so what I would really need to see is my small triggers roll and a pullback to an area and then a close above. So I already know what has to happen before it ever happens. And now the hardest thing that I will ever do is sit here and wait for it to happen. Now, if these small triggers get above those large triggers and I get a snap back to this area in the HVA, that's the momentum trade. But I don't have the momentum that I need to do it right now. And does everybody see those pink 1-to-1s that are killing the party? Can you guys see that? There it is right there. Areas are bouncy, and you can see them fighting right at it. You can see them wrestling. Triggers are up. In at the close on the right side to the 1-to-1s. Large chart is strong. Regular trig strong on small. Time to roll it long. And apparently areas. So you're in right here. There's your trouble spot. 10K's hoping for more move up. He's hoping these 1-to-1s break. Not strong triggers yet. We'll see what happens. But you had room from your entry to the 1-to-1s. No rule that says you can't take 12 points and go break even. You're already out of the 1-to-1s. Great job. Just shooting the gap, right? Just shooting the gap. I love it. And you know what's cool? No, that was all resistance. So now we're just waiting for the next one. Waiting for the next one. Look at those triggers. Guys, if your triggers ever look like this, reload historical data. Oh, I'm not going to do it. And it'll fix them. 2 triggers through, divergences, not giving me a signal here. Guys, what do you want to talk about? What's on your mind? What do you need help with? What can I do to make your life better as a day trader? Have you guys ever figured out what your thing is? Everybody has a thing. Some of you try to be the first one in, counter trend. Some of you don't wait for the perfect entry. Some of you trade in determination conditions. I know, because I've done all of these things. Recognizing your thing, guys, is a really big part of becoming a better trader. Most of us don't recognize it in the beginning. There's a way to fix that if you choose to. Every morning, guys, go back and look at what you did yesterday. Every morning, go back and look at what you did yesterday. Ask yourself, what worked? What didn't work? What felt easy? What felt forced? Guys, when you do this brief study, you ignore divergences, Adam? Yep. Most of the time we don't know we're doing it, right? Guys, this is what happened with me. Yeah, we do. My notes over here, my feedback from John Novak when I presented in the room was into a term, into a term, into a term, some into a term, over and over. Over and over. I'd present in the room, that would be my problem. I'd present in the room, that would be my problem. Guys, I had no idea I was doing it. None whatsoever. So I literally had to go back to my spreadsheet and start looking at the feedback that John gave me. And the one thing, because I was so butthurt about losing trades that I ignored for about 50 times, was John Novak giving me this wonderful wisdom. Hey, Mark, before you enter, just ask, did price reach an area? Where are your triggers? And John said, write that down on a piece of paper. Put it in front of you. Pay attention to the thing that's taken all the money out of your wallet and commit. All right, there's our entry. Whoa. And it took us out because of the reversal bar from the 1-to-1. That's pretty cool. See the black dot? See the pivot stop out? The market, the system will literally pull you out of a trade when it's going wrong. That's rad. Most of us hold in hope. The system has no hope. It has no emotion. I didn't mean to keep that on. Let's see. We have a divergence here. We're getting the momentum. Let's see if it gives us something. Wow. Uh-oh. We're in. See if we get a reversal bar. Nope. They got us. Boy, that was a good look, though. Son of a gun. I love it. I'd take that loss all day long. Wouldn't even hesitate. I would take that automated. I would take that not automated. I would. Whoo. Come on now. That's good stuff. Let's see what it does. You were waiting for price to hit area to get into a trend trade? Right on. Pulled back to it. Closed above it. That was your trend trade, Victor. It's going to targets without you. Those 1-to-1s, though. 1-to-1s might keep some of you out, right? That's all right. There's so many opportunities in the market. Can't we agree on that? In markets that exchange billions daily, it's okay to be a little patient. It's okay to be a little demanding, if you will. Didn't quite get us. Is it going to come back for us? We'll see. Oh, and it canceled it because there was a pivot stop out at divergence. It said, you know what? This messes things up a lot. Let's not put you in the market. Pretty cool, right? The stuff that we can't do in the moment because our emotions get in the way, that black dot said, oh, this isn't your best look anymore. This isn't your highest probability look anymore. Look what the market did. Guys, I'm telling you. 90% of the heavy lifting's coming out of this system. I'm so stoked on it. I must have sounded like a kid at Christmas to my wife yesterday. If you have questions about this, get with me. Get with John Novak. We have been absolutely beating the hell out of it. I know a lot of you are like, oh, but market's down 592. On good trades, the same way we would be in real life. There it is, Boaz. You caught it. Pulls back, closes above. Out at trouble. Chicken out early exit. Maybe on your charts, yeah. No reason not to get paid at a boatload of trouble, though, right, Boaz? In at 97.75, make 80 bucks, do it 5 times a day. Have a wonderful life. Great trade. I don't disagree with your management at all. It's easy to say I got out too early when it goes up after you exit. But did you exit for the right reasons? And if you did, great job. That's what you got to focus on. There will be more. He stole your trade. Right on. You got to watch Boaz. He'll do that. Apparently because you're following rules. Because Boaz does the same thing every time. The most successful traders you guys will ever see in this room are consistent. There's not a lot of room for wiggle. They are, I have to have this if I'm ever going to pull the trigger. That's okay. You missed it the last HVA. That's all right. I don't know if you had rules met at the HVA. I'd have to see your rules. Mine say you have to have momentum. I didn't. I did have a pullback and a close above. And now we're right into trouble. So we're in a holding pattern. We'll make sure it doesn't take a trade when we're not looking. Look at those termination conditions. I love it. Oh, that's the NASDAQ. Yeah, those triggers are crazy. Let's reload historical, see if we can't clean that up a little bit. Guys, you have an hour and a half of my undivided attention. F5 is cleanup. Okay, well, I did that one wrong. Thank you, John. Without the pain of reloading history. See, I'm always the student, guys. That's why John's the tech guy. And now it's going to take a minute. You have clear data, historical, and restart and getting the same. Your triggers are wonky, Sergio. I would say try John's F5. Morgan. Mine's going to take a second to load. Oh, Sergio, that freezing problem. John was telling me that market flow is very labor intensive. One of the things I did is I just took it off of my chart. If all I'm looking for is trend trades, I don't need market flow. That looks normal. Everything looks normal on yours. Same picture. Everything looks normal. What do you think looks off, Sergio? So you don't have anything going on. Here's what I would do, but only on this one. Click on the chart and hit F5. That'll reload NinjaScript. See if that works. There we go. We're back in line. Oh, and I just lost NinjaTrader. Let me pull that back up. I did too much stuff on mine. And then Sergio, you see John in there giving you some love. Pretty cool that the guy that wrote the software shows up and plays in the room. I love it. All right, here we go. Need to connect. John Novak, is it still 90% resets? 90% off resets in the funding company? Someone mentioned that they were able to reset their failed account for $7 yesterday. That's a pretty good deal. I approve that message. Very generous. Thank you for that. Very generous. Thank you for that. Until 450 or so. And then Sergio, I took market flow off of my 1 minute. I don't need it for trend trades. And it's reduced the wear quite a bit. Yesterday, Papa, there were some challenges with CQG. They should update and compile end of day, I believe John said. Oh my gosh, Jerry. I don't know. You got the same emails I did. Let me go see if I can find it in announcements real quick. Hold on. Let me figure out where they put announcements. There we go. Almost there for you, Jerry. Hold on. Hold on. Don't go nowhere. There we go. John does care about his clients. Cav, I agree with you 100%. Whether you like him or not, he takes care of the people that he works for. But everyone seems to like him. If you've never been to a party with John Novak, you've never been to a party. All right, trying to get everything back up here. And thank you for that, Trina. Start new sounds better when you say it. All right. 1 trade, 3 rules, 2 charts. Triggers are up. Nowhere to go. The only thing that gives me a fighting chance for a long trade would be all the way back here. And when I get all the way back here, I have to remember I've already been where the market may want to stop. So I might manage just a little bit more assertively from down there. Get my strategies back on. My strategeries. Sim, apply, okay. And it looks like we just missed the perfect short on our little crash. There we go. And a little double click, pow. Oh, I think it's still loading. If I want to keep in line with whether or not my rules were met. Hey, Miss Jen. Room, strong side. Never really breaks. And you just jump in and make it. I like it. Jen says everything's going up. I might as well go with it. And it works out. Close above, buy next bar above outer band. Cool. That happens sometimes, Jen. A little small chart fixation. This one doesn't really fit any rules that I have. Unless you were going to try to buy that HVA. But that HVA didn't form yet. And then there's your momentum trade. And looks like you caught it on the way up. Yeah, we all do. We all do at least once a day, right? Large chart wants to go short. Small chart doesn't have rules met. It chooses not to. I love that. You know when you want to take a trade even though it's not right? This one doesn't have that. Whoa, look at that. Ha, it caught it on the way down. I love it. We'll go behind. Everything was perfect, and it caught it on the momentum style entry. That was kind of neat. Boaz, where did you put it? Sorry, did I miss it? Is this a valid momentum trade? Let's find out, Boaz. This is the easiest way for me to do it. No terminations or zone reached on the 15-minute. That's a yes. 15 strong side of the triggers. 1 minute strong triggers. That's a yes. Any pullback to an HVA? 3 for 3, Boaz. Perfect. 3 for 3. Does that make sense? %. Great looking trade. Perfect momentum trade. You got all 3 on the checklist. Nicely done. Jen says, Mark, I noticed the trade copier, the follower one has different results. Well, remember, Jen, that it's got to take the trade, and then it's got to process that you took the trade, and then it's got to send that to the next account to enter the trade. So it's not uncommon for them to be a tick or two off of one another, depending on the speed of the market. Are your results like a tick or two off, not 100% exact? Or are they like hundreds of dollars off? $400 off on that tard. Did you use a limit order or did you jump in? Was it super fast? Like, how long did your trade last? Well, you had at least a minute in between. So it depends on where it got you. So if you got in on the way up and the other one didn't process it fast enough, it'll make a difference sometimes. System wants to go slow, it wants to go short. We'll see if it does. You're welcome. And remember, if you ever have a technical question, you can always ask John Novak. Triggers down, super strong, pulls back to the area. You caught it on the way down, Marika. Didn't catch it on the way up. It had already been to the top of the retracement zone. And just write it down. Money, money. Nicely done. Nicely done. And then, Pete, when everything is screaming down with nothing in the way, you're going to find a way to make money. It's just momentum and path. Over and over. Rinse and repeat. Boring as you could make it, right, Pete? If my market is screaming and there's nothing in the way, dag nabbit, I'm going to find a way to make money. Boring as F. Amen. The hardest thing we ever do is make trading boring enough. Usually our desire for excitement enhances our ability to make bad decisions. Dun, dun, dun. Triggers are up. Never got an entry. Over here. There's some rules. I think that's my untitled workspace. We'll get rid of that. Marika, keeping busy today, right? I like that. Everything is down, nothing in the way. Look at that entry, Marika. Atonement, right? For the early entry earlier. Guys, if you're not just mesmerized by her selling the high tick, you are a tough crowd. Marika, it's perfect. It's fun when they're that easy, isn't it? It's fun when it's the perfect trade. And they typically go fast. You are in at 04 and out at 27. You made $300 in 20 seconds. What a great way to make a living. What an outstanding way to make a living, if you ask me. If you request, we'll watch crude oil too. See what's going on. They're pushing it up. We're at almost 90 bucks a barrel. I say I don't trade news, but somebody does, right? Somebody does. Gonna see if I have any gifts for you guys. Here you go. A weekend read for you guys. Emotion-free trading. Outstanding. I think it's only a couple hundred pages. Sit down, curl up with a book. Those of you in snowy places, that's pretty good. 7 Habits of Highly Successful Traders, another good one. Maybe, Boaz. Maybe not, right? Triggers are up. Look at that. Remember when we said this is where it'd have to go? It made it. Hit the area. So now we would need a close above. But guys, remember, it's already been there. Get your management hat on. They've already reached their target. That could be it. We don't know. So if you take this long trade, I would be assertive. After a termination with pink HVAs, I'm going to keep my eyes on that pink line. Still no close above. Nothing to do yet. Let's watch this one. See if it happens. Triggers are up. I'm on the weak side of the triggers. They still have not given me an entry. Therefore, I still have not done a thing. Area is still behaving as support. And now we're in a holding pattern. We'll see, right, Victor? It either will or won't. How's that for technical analysis? It either will or it won't. You were down really low on an eval account yesterday, so I was trying to blow it and restart it with super high stops, but never could get it to say inactive. Then I thought I was past my drawdown limit, but your account didn't liquidate. A bit confused about it. Trina, put a ticket in, please. Just put a ticket in, let them look at your accounts and fix it. You have ice instead of snow? Ugh. And Boaz, they may not ever even give you a shot, right? Guys, this is one of the reasons why if they've already been there, I'm really, and like Boaz says, that's really strong. And it's from a termination. And there's been HVA lines just all the way down. You bet, Cab. Stay warm up there. Do you guys know what it means to be married to a trade? When you've decided right here that you're taking a short, and when the rules aren't met, you've decided that it has to happen, and it has to happen, and it has to happen, and you get so married with the idea that you need to be in a long trade that you forget to look at your rules after a while. And now that resistance is support, isn't it? John, momentum short. Good top, odds favorable, pull back to the zone. There's your momentum trade. That's a good looking trade, John Novak. There it was right there. Started with the termination condition. Solid trade, John Novak. Crude oil's trying. Large chart liked it. Small chart said, nope, that's not our look. All right, here we go. Divergence prints. Strong triggers. Not enough to give me a signal over here. What did that look like for you guys over here? That would be counter trend. That would definitely be counter trend. 24,873. 100% that would be counter trend. John Novak's not scared of counter trend. He's been doing this for 20 years. He has rules and a plan. And they work for him. But you're absolutely right, Boaz. As long as those large triggers are up, any shorts are counter trend. It's amazing how many opportunities there are outside of the very basic trend trade. The question I encourage most people to ask is, do I need them? Do I need to be counter trend to hit my goals? Do I need to fight to hit my goals? Usually the answer is no, but that's up to you. I can tell you though, John Novak probably hitting all these areas, made some money and set up some hope. All right, we lost triggers. Let's stop that real quick and see if we can get the triggers back. That's not a close above triggers from an area. It's not the strong side of up triggers. Doesn't fit the momentum trade in the plan. Right, guys, there's a lot of trades outside of that plan. That plan is very, very basic. And guys, that's why counter trend is a little more aggressive. Yeah, I will, John. I had to refresh it. I'm only going to leave it enabled when I'm watching it. I want to be able to put my stops in the right spot. I want to make sure that I can get paid. I missed the big one. Stupid Nexgen. But very easy to see. Giddy up, right? Giddy up. And then it never took that one. Avoidable loss. No reason to take it. And we'll see what it does. I like watching this because everything that I learned in 101, I'm watching happen right in front of me, which is pretty cool. Can you guys hear me? Give me a Y if you can hear me. There we go. Thanks, guys. Oh, yeah, says the Kool-Aid man. Your large chart sees that fib. Hey, Miss Claire. Always nice to see you. Let me just give you mine. And then you can change it to whatever instrument you need it to be. But there's my workspace. Just save it. And you can change it from NASDAQ to ES to crude oil, whatever you're doing. Nice to see you in here. You're welcome. I hope you and your daughter are both trading well. It's Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Go see if hopefully everybody's got something fun planned for the weekend. Go play some golf. Ooh, that's an interesting one, John. Sleeping. Right on. Oh, it's because those synthetic triggers are there. I've got questions. This is why we're testing. This is why we test. All right, Boaz. Momentum is weak now, so you let it overrun, Boaz, and then get in on the way up. Nicely done. Trading with the large chart. It's so much easier, isn't it? Yeah, Victor, 2 to 3 hours is not good. Be careful with gabapentin. It'll make you functionally retarded the next day. There's something about it that just destroys the thought process the next day. Difficult to trade, difficult to make good decisions, I've found on it. There's a very real cloudiness that comes with it. That's all right. It can be 2 contracts eventually, right? Oh, wow. Sounds like she's having fun. Tell her I said hello and congratulations on her last semester. I'm sure with you as her mom, she is destined for greatness. Yeah, for sure, Doc. Doc Gaia. See, I remember. I think so. Book of Brop. Yeah, give me 1 second, Sergio. So Book of Brop, the way I teach it in here, and I don't know if I'm saying that right. I apologize if I don't. That's your rules. That's it. This is what I teach every day. All you have to do, and I teach you how to do it, is define a trend. Wait for a fight. I'll give you specific entry rules. Let the fight continue. Looks like that. Define a trend. Wait for the fight. Follow the entry rules. Do good things. So 100%, I think, but I've never met you. I don't know what you're good at or what you're not good at. I don't know. The problem took care of itself when you posted. I love it. But if you want to learn what we do, and I would love to teach you what we do, let me give you a link real quick. Head over to the Nexgen site. Sign up for your demo. Get those indicators. I'll hand you a plan. I'll teach you how to read your indicators. You'll have to do the work, but on the demo, you get a 100% working copy of the software. You get everything that you need to be successful with the software. You get feedback on everything that you do as you try to get better with the software. We really don't hold back. We want you to be successful. So grab that demo, sign up, come play with us. Love to have you. And this is what we do all day. The trend is up. Yeah, you're welcome. Excited to have you. If you want, you're welcome to DM me your name and phone number, and I'll just have someone reach out to you and get you taken care of. Just send me a private message if you like. We'll get you set up even sooner. The triggers are up. There is room on the large chart. The small chart is a little wonky on it. Just know where to go. And you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 hits on resistance, and the market can't push. So we're just calm for a moment. We're relaxing. We're waiting for things to work out in our favor. Same thing here. Triggers are up. Now on this one, We're looking for the pullback and the close above. Sergio, you can right click, go to your indicators, and just get rid of market flow from indicators. It'll clean it all up for you. And let me know you got that, Sergio. Just right click, go to indicators, get market flow out of the lineup there, and that'll get you squared away. There's a picture of it. And then Boaz, counter trend trade missed. The short to get to the long, huh, Boaz? I hope so, Dr. Gaia. Perfect momentum trade, Jen. About 7 points late, though. Could you imagine getting in at 52 and not 59? Whoa. Great trade, though. That's the perfect momentum look. I mean, ideal. Great job. Great job. And Sergio, I believe that was your close above. We just weren't looking. And crude oil had weak triggers and no areas inside. No trade. No rules met on the small chart for an entry. Don't want that enabled when I'm not looking. All right, guys, I'm going to take 5 minutes. We'll leave you with TradingView. I'm going to go stretch my legs. Still creating the new 15 workspace. Right on. Do you want to... hold on. If you want... Let me save mine. I'm too lazy to rebuild stuff. I believe you can just copy that and no, you can't. That won't work like that. Not in Discord. Let me put it in a zip file for you. Just if you don't want to go through all of the rebuild, that is mine saved. It should work out perfect. That's all updated. So just close yours out, drop that in, overwrite it, and you're good. Right on, Boaz. Doing that study. All right, you owe me 2 hours at some point then. I don't know what that means. Since I saved you 2, I'll tell you what, I'll give you half of them for free. You owe me an hour. Look at resistance holding. Isn't that amazing? And now there's no momentum for a trend trade. And we're at a termination on the large chart. And for the life of me, I can't find a good reason to go long. All right, guys, I'll be back in 5. All right, here we go. Last hour. Oh, John with the bigger workspace. Look at that. Holy wow. A 55-21. John, this would suggest that it's nothing more than a pattern. That's pretty awesome. That's a great looking trade. Nicely done, John. Same shit, different size. Now I got to call HR on you. Now I got to call HR. She said you're okay. I love it. Crude oil got stuck. All right, let's see. Triggers are still up. Here's our pullback to a mid band. This is one of the things, guys. 1 minute charts are going to look different than Rinko charts. John Novak is making money on this short down to this mid band. One of the things that'll happen if you try to add too many workspaces and time frames is you may find yourself in a weird position where there's a conflict and you're forced to use opinion rather than rules. My rules say that in 35 seconds, if this closes above those small triggers, I qualify for a trend trade. So we're just going to do it. And guys, if you're wondering how to time out your entries, you may see it. 21 seconds. Need a close above the small triggers. I can identify my first sign of trouble. I can see my large chart trouble. We still have 10 seconds. 9, 8. Finger on the buy button. 4, 3, 2, 1. And no rules met yet. John says, my wife only trades the 1 minute 15. Yesterday I told her to watch my charts too, and she lost $8,000 trading. Won't happen again. Even good traders need to stay focused on their charts. Amen. I think Melinda and I have the same brain on that one. As soon as I start putting in things, guys, simplicity for me personally, I'm a complete daydreamer. 3 rules, 2 charts seems to be more than enough to get the job done. We have 27 seconds. And right now, this is where you root for them to not make a run without you. Triggers are up. Room to trouble. 17 seconds. Let's see what happens. We've got 5, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And this is why I never try to anticipate an entry, because I lose out every time I do. Every time I try to catch it with 10 seconds left, that seems to be what happens. I hope that makes sense. That was a great lesson on why we wait for the close. That's an easy avoidable loser. And they're still dancing right here. There's not a lot of conviction. Not yet. But they're thinking about it. You know they're thinking about it, or it would already be one way or the other. So we're looking for small chart failure to put us in line with large chart. We've got 13 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. My rules are still not met. I have a whole nother minute. Boaz, you caught the counter. Short to the long. Nice job. You're getting good at that short to the long, Boaz. We've got 41 seconds now. Notice that the small triggers are getting closer. They're trying to roll. They haven't yet. Still have 30 seconds till we know if rules are met. For those of you that are jumpy, this countdown is amazing. For those of you that like, it's going to go without me, and you have to wait for a close, your problem is the strong momentum triggers? Right on. I'm just going to trade the plan. 4, 3, 2, 1. There's our entry. stop below. Should we go big chart target and break even into resistance? The first two got hit instantly, didn't they? Boaz, this is why I don't add too many things. I just let it go. That's not so bad, is it? I can't lose. I already got paid. And it might not go, but I don't care. I can't lose any money at this point. And Boaz, I don't disagree with you. Watch this. It's still the same trade, right? Let's give it some breathing room this time. That's a little late now. Probably shouldn't have done that directly into resistance. But let's just see if it's really going to be a trend trade. Getting paid at treble from the weak side is exactly what the plan says. You chickened out with $600. That's a hell of a chickening out total, isn't it? The whole bar hasn't... Yeah, Sergio, the entry was 100 legitimate. Well, OG, I was trying to say, okay, if I didn't have those tiny little targets in there, that was like $300 worth of goodness. What happens if you let it spread out a little bit, right? Maybe get paid at treble, then go break even, and we've already gotten to the bounce point. So this might be a pretty good loser, $2,000 loser. Room to trouble. Trouble can create a bounce. Isn't that amazing? And if the sellers take back over, they're likely to go lower than the previous pivot. And in 49 seconds, we'll know. They're going to go, those sons of guns. Triggers are still up. There is still room to trouble. Pablo, I don't know what that is, man. I don't know if you went long or short. I have no idea what's happening on that chart, brother. I don't think your chart gave it. Your chart didn't give it. You were trading directly into resistance on your chart. 100%. Here we go. Watch this. Let's go big. 2, 1. There's a close above. Oh, and I didn't move my stop in time. Damn it. I've got the wrong one. Oh, the zone shifted down. Right on. That happens. Guys, make sure that your ATM makes sense for the chart that you're trading. Mine doesn't. My stops are way too freaking tight. For this particular one, 28 is not enough because these bars are bigger. And it doesn't give you any reaction time. Here we go. Now we're going to just... Damn it. Damn it. It's the same trade. I'm just screwing up my ATM. You were confused. You don't have zones because you have time bars, not Renko. I do have time bars, but I have fibs, not zones. But this is the same trade, right? The same one we took here stopped us out. That was our re-entry. That was our re-entry. Right there. Still had room to trouble. Still made it to trouble. Still got paid at trouble. But that's the one thing that I like you guys to think about. Is if I'm going to test a plan, I have to take the right entries. If I'm going to test a plan, I've got to have the right stop. If I'm going to test a plan, I want to be on simulator so that I can really test the plan. So that I can do it without fear of loss, because guys, it's just monopoly money. In every trade that I take, I'm going to take a picture. And guys, I'll tell you right now, this picture is going to say this. This picture is going to say, make sure your ATM is correct for the chart. And mine wasn't. My stops were way too tight for minute bars. And I got stopped out twice before I could ever even get into the trades. There was a new failure, and it's not working. We're on the weak side. It hit trouble. But I think one of the things that I really want you guys to get into, to dig into, if you're learning the software, is Simulator gives you the ability to take the trades over and over, and it doesn't matter if it wins or loses. It doesn't matter if it's successful or not, guys. What you're doing is you're learning a process. You're learning a process that you can prove over time wins more than it loses. Makes you squirmish seeing $70,000 risk from a red line. Short trend trade, yeah. 700 risk, yeah. But on the charts we were trading, that was your exit from the weak side. There's a good lesson. From the weak side of the triggers, 1 minute areas are more likely to create bounces. That would be your exit. Which means that we're not holding like the jackass at the helm this morning. We're saying, all right, I'm going to get in, I'm going to get paid, I'm going to get out, I'm going to call it a day and wait for the next trade. That's it. That's part of the training every day. Strong side, weak side, transition. 1 minute areas are most likely to bounce from the weak side of the triggers. From the weak side of the triggers. 1 minute areas are most likely to bounce. It eliminates the hope in the trade, guys. It eliminates the, gosh, I sure hope it goes up, even though that picture I look at every morning says that it's probably not. So you wait. See if they roll. See what happens. We're back to support. And now we got that, well, they're more left to right than they are up and down. Do you guys see it? Like if this bar finishes down, those are probably going to be down. If the market rockets up, it's probably going to be up. Depending on what happens in the next 5 minutes, it's a little indecisive, which means that I have a very easy decision. I choose to do nothing. And I just kick back and I wait. And I wait for everything to come in line. I wait for everything to be right in my world, for my rules to be met. And then you pull the trigger again. The wait paid off, Victor. Price pulls back to the area. You trade directly into resistance, right? You trade directly into resistance. And resistance held, brother. Does that make sense? You got lucky as crap. So check it out. Price reaches the area. When price is going down, Victor, and it reaches an area, what is that area? Support or resistance? I want to make sure that you've got this lesson. When price comes down and reaches an area, that's an area of support, right? So Victor, when a full price bar breaks below that area is no longer support. That area becomes resistance. Your trade is directly into an area of resistance. Does that make sense? It's directly into an area of resistance from the weak side of triggers that have already been to trouble. And look what happens. It does spike once, doesn't change from resistance, doesn't change from resistance. My chart and your chart aren't the same. My chart and your chart are not the same, Victor. You have zones telling you your rules aren't met. I'm using a different chart that doesn't have zones, that uses fibs, that uses the midbands. They're completely different charts. I'm eating chicken, you're eating steak. My chart said midband with room to treble, and treble held. Your chart says there is no room to treble. Rule number 2 is not met. Does that make sense? You blame the gabapentin? That's all right. I like it when good things happen to nice people, Victor. That was your next trade. The long, but there's nowhere to go again, guys. It's just tight. Let it air out. Let it get some room, right? Let's get all those markings off of there. Wait for the next one. What do you guys want to talk about? You got me for about another 30 minutes. Got me for about another 30 minutes. As we head into the weekend. So Victor, see how mine had room, but yours didn't on this one? Big close above, directly into resistance? Yeah. So there's going to be two very different looks between the Nexgen or the NinjaTrader lookalike and the trading view because there's different forms of support and resistance. The areas are similar, they're close, but they're not exact. So while one may give the perfect trade, the other one may have absolutely no rules met. The same way, guys, our minute bar said, hey, let's look for a long trade, and John is making all the money on short trades. I think you should. You got to trade your charts. That was a good example. Victor, I'm glad that it worked out. I love this. John says that blue area could create a bounce. I'm going to tighten up. That's all right. Victor, you should probably go rest, man, if you're on a bunch of meds. I'm not a doctor, but I've been on a bunch of meds. And man, I have lost some money on the meds. That's a great day, Victor. That's a great day. And Boaz, I love it. You had a long trade. And there it goes. It fit the rules. It was tight, but it fit the rules. A lot of risk, but it fit the rules. Fit the rules. Fit the rules. This is one of the things that I love is I have formed a million opinions. But those small triggers are just, man, they hate to lie. They are not the lying sort. It's so easy to trade with them. But because there's different time frames, guys, there's always different ways to do stuff. There's always different things to see. Back into trouble from the weak side. Look at trouble react. Isn't that awesome? You saw it. You knew about it. You could have gotten paid there. Or you could just hold forever and hope things work out. And now those triggers are trying to roll. We got 13 minutes until this bar finishes. If the market decides to rocket up, those will never roll down. So if you take a short trade, you're anticipating a trend change, hoping that it changes. You haven't seen that it's actually changed. Been caught on that one 100 times over. Easily. Dun, dun, dun. What do you guys want to talk about? What's on your mind? Does Nexgen do better in higher volume sessions? I like to trade Asian session, but that would be better to use Nexgen during London or New York. Dr. Gaia, oh shit, I just lost it. I just crashed. What I've seen is that if there's not enough volume to move the market, and it depends on what market you're trading. Gold does great in the evenings because everybody trades gold, but the NASDAQ tends to slow down a little bit. I would say do a little market replay, make sure, look at the volume, and just test it out and make sure that it's good for you. And fibs are fibs. They don't know what time it is or who's trading. I agree with that 100%. But I also think if there's not enough people pushing the market to sustain a trend, you'll see a lot of indecision, and you've got to be very patient if the volume is down. Not everybody has that. I've seen people exit perfect trades just because they're tired of waiting to see what it's going to do. And when I say I've seen people do it, I mean I've done it. I've done it. Let me get my Ninja Trader back up. But I don't know that I've ever traded the Asian markets or ever even considered that the Asian markets were what we were being traded. I have traded in the evening. Gold, in my opinion, is the best mover in the evening. So far. But I'm not a huge gold fan. So I like this. You guys want to see a great way to define indecision? Price comes down to support, and it becomes resistance, and it stays resistance, and it stays resistance, and it stays resistance, and it stays resistance. Do you guys see that? Never got a full bar above. Never got a full bar above. Jerry, I am the wrong guy for that. I don't know how. John Novak sends me files and I put them in, and I'm not sure what the installer is. John Novak, do you want to take the room for a couple minutes and do it? Or let's see if there's instructions, Jerry. I bet there is. But I'm not 100% sure what you guys have to do whose last name aren't Novak. Let's find out real quick. Let's go look. We'll work through it together, man. Trend trade version 2. Get your plan. There's the input section to make sure your time zone is right. Trade management, system chart template. Adding the strategy. Create your small. Hopefully John's listening in. Check your grids. Monitoring notice. Guys, pay attention to that. Input meanings. Soft close indicators. Oh, Jerry, I wish I had a better answer for you. You have the old system. Did John send you an updated version? Did he send you files? I don't know what you guys get. That's why I'm a little confused. I know what I get when I have to update. I don't know what you guys get. You got an email, Morgan? Sorry, Jerry. I wanted to be more helpful than that. I really did. Jason can help for sure. I know there was an email sent. I know that it's specific to your computer's ID, your NinjaTrader ID. And it's typically just a matter of replacing some files. That's what I had to do. I had to replace files and strategy and systems. But I haven't seen it from the client side. All right, Nathan. Let's see what we have, bud. You too, Sergio. Take care, man. Jerry Morgan says, run the installer for all the new workspaces, get rid of the old Ninja script, then import the new script sent via email. Awesome. Glad you got it going, Sergio. Strong top, odds favorable, clear path, perfect entry. Didn't work. Need some clarity on what to do when new fibs pop up. They pop up sometimes. Nathan, do you see how the new fib has nothing to do with the short trade you're taking, though? None whatsoever, right? You're already in. You could say it was 3 triggers. Okay. So if you see this, you'll see it on the small chart first. It's 3 triggers. And if the rules are no longer met, don't take the trade. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bars. Then you have to make a decision, Nathan. If you're in the trade, you have to make a decision. I can't make that for you. There's a fib update. Here, watch this. There's a fib update that happens. And if you're in a trade, man, and it's the perfect trade, enjoy your trade. And if something changed, hit the close button. If your rules are no longer met, you can hit the close button. You can say, wow, my rules are no longer met. I choose not to be in this trade anymore. There is no hum. It's you have to make a decision. You're in the trade. If the conditions change, you are allowed to close that trade. Then just let it play out and see what happens. I can't tell you what to do. I love this look. That's a beautiful look. Everything about this look is so freaking amazing. I would probably exit with the higher divergence and just call it a day. But what I would do and what you would do are two very different things, right? What if I take the perfect trade and suddenly I have to take a shit? Do I shit my pants? Or do I close the trade and go to the bathroom? I can't make that decision for you. Sorry, here comes HR on me. Sorry, John Novak. So if you see that it changes, you're allowed to close it. And if it's the perfect trade, there you go. You accelerate so you don't cripple them, John. You make sure that you kill them. Well, I think school zones are ridiculous. I know, Nathan, that's one of those things, man. It's not going to happen very often. So you need to, if my rules change mid-trade, I will. And then you fill in the blank. I will exit. Or you'll say, I'll hold it because it was awesome when I entered. Flip a coin. But you've got to do that, right? You've got to be able to make that decision. Your rules were met at entry. Have fun with it. But were they met at entry? So here's the question that you have to ask, Nathan. If you see this print, were they really met? 4 out of 4. 1 divergence. Sounds like a great trade. Sounds like a great trade. Does that make sense? Like, I can't tell you what to do in the moment when everything changes. If nothing's gone sideways. Your stop makes sense. Everything is still pushing down. The market is rocketing from a strong top. Every now and then, guys, you're going to have to make a trade. But what's the rule if you don't know the decision? If you don't know what the right decision is inactivity better than guessing? There you go. So maybe that idea says just close the trade. I don't feel like I have the advantages I needed anymore. I choose to close. Or I'm living in the past. I'm going to rock with it. Everybody's different. Weak top. Perfect. 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 When there are multiple areas in the same move, theoretically, you can take them all, brother. You can keep taking short trades until the rules aren't met. I actually think I have a picture. Let's see if I can find it. There's a picture somewhere in the spreadsheet that says like Susie doing great things. And she did that. She went short, got paid, went short, got paid, went short, got paid, just over and over, all the way down, because it just kept giving entries. Good stuff. One tick away, make a decision. It's not reached. Black and white, it's not reached. Easy enough, right, Nathan? That's what you need. Because it's 1-to-1s, and 1-to-1s are an exact number. And your brain needs black and white. That's what you told me. So if it's not reached, it's not reached. Odds favorable, clear path. No areas inside of triggers. I don't know if that was in at the time. Was it inside for the second one? Black and white. There you go. Black and white. Strong bottom. Odds favorable. Perfect entry. Didn't work. It happens, right? That's a pretty big gap. Back to those triggers. Don't know what it looked like in the moment. Same thing, though. The execution is good. You're doing it. If I get a pullback when the synthetics are below the large triggers, do I move my stop? It says 5 ticks past the triggers, right? 5 ticks beyond the triggers. Not 5 ticks beyond the synthetic triggers, Nathan. 5 ticks above the retracement zone where the market should not go. Perfect. Perfect. Good stuff. Nothing more frustrating than following your rules so well and they don't work a couple times, right? I know. I've been there. I get it. I get it. We've all been there. There's days where you're just like, oh, man, I keep doing everything right and something's not working. That's why we have stop losses. That's why we say out loud, if I'm losing this much, I'm just going to stop. Something's not working. My plan is good. And these guys aren't respecting my plan. The market is wrong. And that's why we all have plans, or should all have plans, that say if I take X amount of dollars in losses, something's not working. Sometimes you'll say, I followed every rule, took X amount of dollars. I know my brother will do this. If he followed every rule, he's like, I'll just take a break, come back, trade again. It's not like I did anything wrong. Just it wasn't flowing. Give it a chance to find its flow. But never relinquish your control, guys. You're in control of the entries. You're in control of the exits. You're in control of the management, everything. Never relinquish it. Have a plan. All right, TradingView users. Does everybody remember when I said if the market goes up, those triggers will have never gone down? If you can't tell, if it's in that indecisive moment, you run the risk of guessing wrong. So if the trend has been up all day and they're indecisive, do I really want to take a short? Or do I really want to let those triggers roll before I try one and let it be decisive? Every morning when I teach trend, we talk about this. If they're going right, you're guessing. Because if they keep going in the direction of the trend, they will have never rolled. So if you went short here, you guessed wrong. If you went short here, you guessed wrong. If you went short here, you guessed wrong. If you took the long momentum trade, you guessed right with the trend. That's a good lesson. And this would be one of those instances. They're not down, they're going to the right. If I'm going to make a mistake, don't I want to make a mistake in the established trend? Instead of hoping that it magically reverses and gives me my rules met. In 12 minutes, I'll know whether or not those triggers wanted to go down. Can anybody hold on for 12 minutes? I hope so. It's going to help. Gonna help. All right, guys, what you got for me? Talk to me. Talk to me. Let's finish out. Doing great things. Hey, what's up, Enova? What would MAE me use the now? For the NASDAQ? What platform are you on, Nova? That's okay. Are you on TradingView or you're on NinjaTrader 8? Same one we've always used, 34.5, 13.2. It's the same one we've been showing forever, trading forever, doing forever. If it moves too fast for you, oh, for the 15-minute style? Bum, 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 bum. All right, don't you do this when you're driving. Don't you hurt yourself. But come back and visit the room. There's the workspace right there. Right on. So you're going to want to take that and put it in your workspace file on your computer. But it'll stay in Discord. You may have to search it. And then that'll give you the lookalike. And all it is just a lookalike. It's 15 minute, it's 1 minute, it's areas, but it doesn't have zones. It uses fibs instead of the zones. No worries, man. And then if you need any help with it, let me know. Let me give you the plan too. It's the exact same plan, whether it's TradingView or Ninja or the lookalike. It's just establish a trend, wait for the pullback to an area, wait for the correct entry, have fun. There's the PowerPoint that I use every morning for it as well. So you can look that over. And if you have any questions, just reach out, bring them to class. Let me know what I can do. Are there any fibs? Did we run out of fibs? See if they